It's a pleasure. It's a great pleasure to join this important and provocative debate on whether or not education has learned the lessons from COVID-19. If you are honest, and we are honest, of course, the pandemic previewed a rather dystopic future for digital education, one in which already glaring inequalities were amplified, one where technology narrowed educational experiences and increased isolation, and finally, one where the sudden widespread reliance on commercial edtech applications and services often undermine the notion of education as a public good. Well, we can and we must do better. Despite the uneven experiences of the pandemic, I remain firmly convinced that technology can make education more inclusive, more exciting, more collaborative, more relevant. And in doing so, I think technology can really improve outcomes for all. As you begin this conference, let me propose some principles, 3 principles actually. They are signposts to steer the digital transformation of education. The very first guiding principle is to center on the most marginalized. Inclusion as a key word. We must recalibrate, rebalance our policies, actions, and investments to center on learners most in need of opportunities, asking how approaches can work for refugees, students with disabilities, girls and women, teachers in remote rural areas, and other underprivileged learners, and education needs to be a point of departure, not an afterthought. The second point, the second guiding principle is content matters. Let me explain a little bit. Too often, technology initiatives for education stop and end with hardware. We saw this during the pandemic with heroic efforts to distribute connected technology was so important, of course. But connected to what? We must not neglect the importance of relevant, diversified, quality digital learning content for learners, for educators, and parents now. The third guiding principle is about pedagogical innovation. It's about the how, so to say. Learning in digital environments must not simply replicate established classroom teaching learning practices. Let's ensure that technology expands freedom, increases exposure to new worldviews, and builds the reflective outlooks and respect for difference that underline the healthy functioning of diverse societies. I hope that these 3 principles will help guide your reflection. This moment of forced innovation will not last forever, of course. Norms will solidify, people's expectations will start to align, and business models will likely converge. Let's take advantage of this moment of flexibility and ensure that technology furthers our highest ambitions for universal quality education. I wish you a very productive conference and regret not to join you in person. Thanks to technology, I can be with you as well. Thank you sincerely for this opportunity.